Hi, hello everyone. This is Shanmugaraj. Welcome to my channel. One of the aims of this channel is to build a global knowledge sharing platform in the domains of leadership, agile, and project management. You can join me and help me with that either by subscribing to this channel or sharing my videos to your friends. Right? Having said that, let us get into today's topic. We are currently discussing some of the leadership ideas from MIT Sloan School of Management. We're continuing our discussion around top 10 articles of 2023 from MIT. Today it's going to be the fourth article we're going to discuss. Today's topic is what bananas can tell us about supply chains. This article has been published in the month of May 2023. Why it matters? In a new book, MIT professor Yoshi Sheffi examines supply chain complexity, artificial intelligence, and the future of work. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, many consumers rarely thought about supply chains, which seemed to seamlessly deliver goods to stores and doorsteps. But pandemic-era disruptions lifted the curtain on this as seeming magic, according to MIT engineering professor Yoshi Sheffi, revealing the underlying structure, unavoidable complexity, and massive scale of modern supply chain. In his new book, The Magic Conveyor Belt: Supply Chains, AI, and the Future of Work, Sefi, the director of MIT Center for Transportation and Logistics, takes a closer look at supply chains, how they operate, and how new technology might change them. As Sefi writes in the following excerpt, even the most basic of products, bananas, go through quite a journey to appear as if from supply chain Santa Claus and his elves on grocery store shelves. Every operation along any supply chain requires three types of things to come together in the same place at the same time: input materials, equipment, and labor. This is true even for somewhat simple supply chain of bananas. Bananas are the most frequently purchased grocery item in the US. They are also popular in the rest of the world. In 2019, banana growers exported more than 21 million tons of bananas worldwide. Tracing the supply chain of bananas seems to be relatively straightforward because the product has only a single part, does not require assembly, and comes with its own packaging. As it turns out, bananas at the supermarket are not quite the natural, a simple product they seem to be, but rather the manufactured one due to the various production processes, applied chemicals, and transportation involved. A look at the banana supply chain from a Chiquita plantation in Costa Rica to Shaw's supermarket shelf in Boston, Massachusetts illustrates this well. Nature supplies the three main ingredients to to the bill of materials of a banana: carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. However, growing bananas successfully requires other inputs such as fertilizers and organic matter and nutrients, along with the pest control product. When a banana cluster reaches the right stage of development, still green but approaching ripeness, farm laborers cut it down and move it along a metal track to a sorting station. Bunches are then manually inspected for appearance and sorted by size. Packers load the sorted and quality control bananas into 40-pound boxes and stack 48 boxes on a pallet. At the end of the production line, workers load the 110 pallets of bananas onto trucks to haul them east to the Costa Rican port of Puerto Moine in Limon on the Caribbean Sea. At the port, the pallets are loaded into 40-foot refrigerator containers, each holding 20 pallets. Massive cranes then load hundreds of containers onto vessels bound for New Orleans. At the port in New Orleans, the containers are unloaded from the ship and transported by trail and truck to the refrigerator distribution centers owned by Chiquita or a retailer. At the distribution center, workers stack pallets of fruit in sealed ripening rooms. Shortly before shipping the bananas to retail stores, Chiquita injects the rooms with ethylene gas to restart the ripening process. They control the gas exposure to achieve one of the three ripeness levels requested by each retail store: hot green, green, or yellow. When the bananas reach the retailer's desired color, they are delivered to retail stores. For example, each day at the Shaw's Supermarket Distribution Center in Methuen, Massachusetts, which serves the greater Boston area, thousands of boxes of bananas are loaded onto trucks with an assortment of other perishable items destined for Shaw's retail grocery outlets. Fresh produce managers must time the sequence of events just right so that the correct number of bananas at the proper ripening stage will hit the stores every day. Note that while the description above focuses on the bananas themselves, each process along the way requires more than bananas. It requires workers, it requires infrastructure, tools, and other inputs and organization to manage the operations, be it growing, harvesting, loading, transportation, unloading, cooling, ripening, storing, and delivery, and more. And all this just for a simple product requiring no assembly, whether at the plantation where the laborers use fertilizers and farm machinery, or in the refrigerator warehouses where workers use ethylene gas to control how quickly the bananas ripen. Every operation requires the combination of labor, material inputs, and equipment. Supply chains, the magic conveyor belt. For most of my career, when neighbors asked my wife what I was researching and teaching at MIT, her answer: supply chain management, drew uncomprehending blank stares. That all changed following the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, when my wife asked a whole food supermarket clerk in May 2020 why there were no oranges on the shelf. The 17-year-old casually muted, "You know, we have supply chain problems, ma'am." So before the pandemic, the supply chains seldom appeared in the public news feed because even when the supply chains were disrupted and some products were not available, the interruptions to people's lives were not significant. Most supply chain problems were isolated events associated with local natural disaster, and supply chain managers were able to insulate consumers from most such problems. Sure, store shelves might empty out before a hurricane or a winter storm, but that was expected and in many cases planned for. Thus, they did not create a large scale problem. Anyone can do almost anything if given unlimited time and money. The true magic of modern supply chains is in how much they can do with the limited time and the restricted budgets. Through decades of development in theory, practices, and tools for supply chain design, management, and operations, managers learned how to consistently provide a lot of products from little money under most circumstances. Large and small retail outlets offered tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of different products ready to put in a cart, buy, and take home. E-commerce outlets offered millions of different products, many with same-day delivery to consumers' front doors. For most part, the millions of people who work at retailers, manufacturers, raw material producers, part suppliers, warehouses, and freight carriers had created an illusion of a magic, cornucopia, providing a constant stream of products whenever the consumer wanted them. To a large extent, the high performance of modern supply chains meant that consumers knew they could visit a store or website, find what they needed, and buy it. And if consumers revisited the retailer later, they would again find the shelves still mostly full of goods, seemingly replenished in the dead of night by supply chain Santa Claus and his elves. Behind the scenes, a vast network of companies worked hard to create a smooth flow of goods at competitive prices. Supply chains had run so smoothly and invisibly that the New York Times admitted we didn't even have a logistics beat before the pandemic. With the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, however, supply chains become victims of their own success. The causes of both the periods of smooth supply chain operations and pandemic-related shortages arise from the underlying structure, unavoidable complexity, and massive scale of modern supply chains. With this, we come to the conclusion of this particular video. Hope you guys had a better understanding of invisible part of supply chain. The author explained with an example of a banana supply chain. It clearly gives the picture, right? How complex is the underlying structure, the massive scale behind supply chain and the complexity behind it. All right. So with an advent of artificial intelligence, you might have a better days, to come. Right. So I hope you guys like these kind of videos that helps you to become a better leader or getting a better business understanding, right? So with that, I'm signing off. See you in next video.